This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
After days of bone-chilling weather, the temperatures were up today, but there is concern for the Monday morning rush with freezing rain in the forecast. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. That freezing rain could cause some icy conditions, which can make for a treacherous situation if you're heading into work or taking the kids to school. Tonight, we're in a weather alert. So let's get straight to meteorologist Gary Frank with that Weather First forecast.
Yeah, good evening, Mike. It was nice to see the sun today and a little bit of melting ahead of changes. The roads, it's going to be a different story here 12 hours from now. Even, I would say, as early as about 5 to 6 hours from now, we'll start to see changes out west, and then they'll work our way closer to us. Dry roads for now. Current temperatures, though, holding steady here. Right now, close to freezing. 31 in Creve Coeur, 31 in Pacific. The big picture shows how that cold air has really settled out and moved out. But the key for us is as we go from Springfield to Indianapolis, that cold air remains in place. And as we start to see our next system arrive, you can see from Wichita, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa, that shade of pink indicates freezing rain. And that's what's going to enter the frame as we start to see that warmer air kind of override this colder air mass that we've kind of been stuck in. That's going to give us our best opportunity. And we're under a winter weather advisory from 3 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Monday, and even a few counties until 9 p.m. on the metro east side, specifically further north, where the cold air is a little bit more in place. Right now, as I mentioned, the sun is setting as clouds have increased from west to east. You can see it in the arch now, 31, feels like 21. So that southeast breeze continues to not only drive up moisture, but bring our temperatures up. And they'll hold steady as freezing rain develops overnight. Temps in the mid-20s, but what we want to pay attention to as it's a weather alert day for Monday, we'll start that at 1 o'clock in the morning. I think as freezing rain starts to move in, a light glaze of ice will form, especially during the morning commute, and that's what we'll really focus on as that morning commute looks to be impacted. There is even a sign that maybe into the early afternoon, we'll start to see some of that with temperatures maybe holding closer to the freezing mark. We'll time that out for you and talk about amounts and really what amounts mean with freezing rain and what that entails for the rest of Monday.
And with that freezing rain in the forecast, everyone has their eyes on the road. Hours ago, MoDOT, the Missouri State Highway Patrol, and the National Weather Service shared their plans for tomorrow's weather. 5 on your side's Mercedes McKay has details.
Frigid mornings and single-digit temperatures have been the norm for St. Louis over the last few days.
The last few events we've had, it's been snow, and with snow you can see that on the roadways.
While temperatures will be warmer than they have been, it could cause havoc for Monday morning's commute.
Roads are going to get slick with any precipitation and these type of temperatures.
Freezing rain is what's at stake. With temperatures below freezing and moisture in the air, an unwelcome surprise could blanket the roads starting as early as 3 a.m.
We are expecting a glaze of ice to be on any untreated surfaces, so travelers can expect hazardous road conditions.
That's why MoDOT is getting prepped now.
We're going to have crews in as early as 7 o'clock this evening getting ready. We'll have all our trucks ready, make sure everything's good to go whenever this thing does start.
Crews will be working 12-hour shifts, monitoring the roads all night and putting treatment down before the rain arrives.
We do focus efforts on interstates, major routes, and then work down to the lettered and state numbered routes from there.
Officials say if you absolutely have to be out on the roads Monday morning, it's best to plan ahead. So that means make sure that you have a full tank of gas and make sure you pack an emergency kit.
Have an extra coat, a hat, gloves, maybe another blanket with you in case something happens, you find yourself stranded and you don't have a heat source.
So how can you help once the weather gets here?
Please slow down, allow yourselves extra time, give plow operators plenty of room to work.
And if possible, officials say the best thing you can do is to stay off the roads completely.
If you can delay your start or stay home, go ahead and start making those preparations. Stay home, stay warm, stay safe.
Mercedes McKay, 5 on your side.
And make sure to tune in to Today in St. Louis tomorrow morning. Our team will be tracking the roads and give you everything you need to know before you head out the door for your morning commute. You can stay up to date with our latest weather coverage. Weather in your neighborhood at any time. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355. We'll send you a link. And for a list of school closings in our area, just head to ksdk.com. Residents of Heritage House Apartments are being told they need to move out of their temporary housing today, 1 week after being forced out of their homes. The freezing cold burst pipes at the Midtown apartment complex last Sunday, flooding units on multiple floors. Many of the residents were temporarily relocated to the Ballpark Hilton, paid for by the building manager. But today, they needed to move out. Residents held a news conference this morning as they try to find their next steps.
So what we've been asking for is answers. Who is the owner? You know, where can we get help from? What's going to happen after this? How long is it going to take for the building to be repaired? How long are we going to be away from our homes? And we are exhausted. We're exhausted. So we've been reaching out to people, anyone that will listen, who can give us answers of what we can do.
We've reached out to the managing group Sansone for a response, but we have not yet heard back from them. Right now, police are investigating the death of a University of Illinois student. 18-year-old Akul Dwan was found yesterday morning on the back porch of a campus building. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The Champaign County Coroner's Office said they think his death was accidental. Dwan was a freshman computer engineering student at the college. According to his LinkedIn profile, his roommate called police at around 1:30 Saturday morning saying he was missing. Campus police launched a search but didn't find him in time. We reached out to the college for more information. We have not yet heard back from them. Today, an off-duty firefighter is being credited with saving the lives of 2 people trapped in a house fire early this morning. His name is Kevin Drury, and he and a City of St. Charles police officer were the first ones at the scene after calls came in around 6:30. Drury ended up dragging both victims to the front door of the house and, with the help of the police officer, got them out safely. They were taken to a hospital and are expected to be okay. Neither Drury nor the officer were hurt. 5 on your side's Andy Craw will have more on this story tonight at 10. Later this week, the Women's Safety House is opening a new facility. It's the Women's Safe House Pet Safe House. It'll be a refuge for domestic abuse survivors and their pets. According to Purina's Purple Leash Project, only 17% of domestic violence shelters accept pets, and 71% of women in domestic violence shelters report their abuser threatened to hurt or kill their pets as a means of control. The facility is scheduled to open on Tuesday. The domestic violence hotline is 1-800-799-7233. While it's been a frigid weekend, that didn't stop car fans from getting a glimpse at some of the latest models. This morning, the St. Louis Auto Show kicked off its final day at America Center. Folks could get up close to some of the newest cars, tech, and luxury vehicles on the market. The show featured more than 400 new cars, trucks, and SUVs, and that show ended just a few minutes ago. Big news today on the campaign trail. Republican hopeful Ron DeSantis has suspended his campaign. This just ahead of the country's first primaries in New Hampshire on Tuesday. Former President Donald Trump is leading in the polls, and CNN's Gloria Pezmino has more from the Granite State.
Republican candidates are making their final push to New Hampshire voters with just days to go until the state's presidential primary election.
On Tuesday, it is, do you want more of the same, or do you want to go in a new direction?
You got to get out because margins are important.
And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis made this announcement.
I am today suspending my campaign.
And the former president appears to be in the driver's seat to win the Granite State primary. In a new poll conducted by the University of New Hampshire, Donald Trump holds a 50% support among likely Republican voters in the state. Compare that to his closest challenger, Nikki Haley, who stands at just 39%. Just 3 weeks ago, the same poll had Haley trailing by single digits. And the personal attacks between the two continue.
I mean, he claimed that Joe Biden was going to get us into World War II. I'm assuming he meant World War III. He said that he ran against President Obama. He never ran against President Obama. You don't be surprised if you have someone that's 80 in office. Their mental stability is going to continue to decline.
But she's made an unholy alliance with the rhinos, the never-Trumpers, Americans for no prosperity, globalists, the radical left communists, and they want to get liberals and Biden supporters. That's what they want.
A victory on Tuesday would accelerate Trump's march to a third straight GOP nomination. In New Hampshire, I'm Gloria Pezmino reporting.
Well, during last week's severe winter weather, Illinois Governor Pritzker sent a letter to Texas Governor Abbott slamming him for still sending migrants. In the letter, Pritzker said Abbott was playing a, quote, political game. On this week's episode of The Record, political editor Mark Maxwell sat down with Governor Pritzker and asked him about that clash.
The asylum seekers coming across the border who are being bused by the governor of Texas to Illinois is a wholly different category of folks. They're here in this country legally, and they're being used as political pawns by Republicans at border states.
Catch that full interview and more tonight after Sports Plus. Some social media posts are saying T-Mobile users could face fines of up to $500 if you text about certain topics. Brandon Lewis from our National Verify team looks into those claims.
You may have seen social posts like these that claim T-Mobile will fine customers $500 for sending text messages that contain objectionable content. One post says this includes text with any sexual talk, hate speech, or talking about alcohol, firearms, or tobacco. Verify viewer Missy and several others reached out to ask if this is actually happening. So, let's verify. Our sources are T-Mobile and Vonage, a vendor that sends texts on behalf of companies. As of January 1st, T-Mobile has a new text message policy in place, but it doesn't impact regular customers. It's for third-party vendors. These are companies that work with businesses to send out big batches of promotional text messages, like store coupons or donation links for political campaigns. The new policies mean that T-Mobile can fine these vendors up to $2,000 if they violate the new rules. This policy does not apply to individual customers, and T-Mobile tells Verify, we do not and cannot censor personal texts. We only have filters that protect our customers from unwanted texts that could contain malware or other fraudulent or malicious activities, such as phishing. We also checked with T-Mobile's terms of service and confirmed there is no mention of fining individual users. So, no, T-Mobile is not fining customers over their text message content. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Do you have something you'd like us to verify? Just shoot us an email to verify@ksdk.com. Well, this winter has a death toll. Authorities say at least 76 people across the U.S. have been killed over the past week due to back-to-back winter storms. That's across 13 states, and it includes Illinois. 6 of those happened today in Tennessee. And this comes right before we're expecting those ice storms to hit the roads tomorrow. IDOT crews say they're planning on heading out at midnight tonight to start treating the roads there. Gary Frank is in our Weather First Forecast Center, and we're talking about this ice tomorrow morning, and it is a big concern, especially for parents who want to get their kids to school or need to go to work, Gary.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow thing. I really think that, ice is obviously always the one that we talk about, the most difficult to drive in. Snow at least provides some traction. We know how to handle it. When you don't see ice, when it looks exactly like just a wet pavement and all of a sudden you hit one spot, lose traction, things of that nature. Obviously, that is the big concern. So when we look outside right now, not much going on. Clouds have increased. You can see that. As far as temperatures today, let's just talk about what went on today. We got back at 31. And it felt probably like 70 to you. It felt pretty good to me. We did have a little bit more of a breeze. We did get to 32 after starting out at about 8 degrees this morning. This evening will stay dry as clouds increase. We'll be in the upper 20s, but those winds are going to pick up. This system that, if you watched the football games yesterday, the rain has slowly worked its way in. You'll see the leading edge of this in the panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas. That is the freezing rain that we're dealing with. You'll see that pink shade there. As we get closer to home, it's all responsible for not only ice storm, but also winter storm or winter weather advisories. And that's really all the way through Oklahoma City as that freezing rain. You see those different shades of pink. And then locally, we'll be talking about ice. And that is our winter weather advisory. Parts of our area until 6 o'clock, other parts in the Metro East until 9 o'clock. And how do we get freezing rain? How do we even get here to begin with? A lot of the times we talk about the snow melting at the surface, why the ground is warm. Well, we know the ground is pretty cold. But one thing that I find interesting, and this is going to change here over the next 12 hours, is look at 10,000 feet in the air. It's warmer than it is at 5,200 feet. And, our air temperature is at 31. So that's going to be the key. There's a warm layer of air above the surface that we don't often see. And that's how we get to this freezing rain, because these super cool droplets eventually fall to the surface where our temperatures, as you see, are below freezing. And as we work our way toward 2 or 3 o'clock, that's when I think the freezing rain starts. There's no doubt all of us are below freezing at this point. That's when we start to see that coat the trees, your car surface, and eventually the roadway surfaces. Now, it'll start on the bridges because they get colder by default, but as we go in 4, 5, 6 o'clock, you've been seeing freezing rain for several hours now in varying levels of intensity. What I think we'll start off with tomorrow is Temperatures right around 30 to about 32 for at least the first 6-7 hours of the day through noon. I think we're very close to it. And then locally at noon, we're starting to get close to that 34, 35. But really from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock, that light freezing drizzle begins and continues to increase. As temperatures are mostly below freezing, that will increase during the rush hour, and that's where icy conditions develop. Now, the second half of the day by noon, watch as we're around freezing there. You'll see it starts to transition to more of a rain, where we see temperatures above freezing. That's where we're not really having much of an issue. I think this may linger a little bit in the Metro East, particularly Vandalia, Salem, and Flora, but colder pockets will be around. That's where you may start to see a few of these issues. Now, I show you the ice accumulation graphic purely because I want to show you what the computer models are saying, because I think it's increased a little bit. We're starting to see more of that. Now, you're not going to go outside and measure this, but what we will see is freezing rain. Anytime we see less than 1/4 of an inch, it's cars and trees that are glazed over. I think there's maybe a possibility some of those tree limbs could get heavy. We'll definitely see icy roads with power outages here and there. Overall, though, 35. This ends, and then we're pretty much above freezing over the next few days as we're back close to 50 by Thursday. But I think the first part of the day into the early afternoon are definitely going to be on the slicker side for your Monday.
All right, Gary, thanks.